क्या something very big you told me, Reva. I don't know what it is. Hmm? So all of you have put, sir, fight against something, fight, protest, fight. Leave that link, Vaibhav. Leave the link. Leave the link. The word is revolt, and I want you to tell me the meaning of that. Many of you have told me that it is revenge, fight against something, protest. But why? Why should I fight against something? Okay, okay. You say the revolt means fight, but why should I fight against something? Is why should I? I am asking. Why should I fight? Fight for justice. Justice. You are not happy. Okay. Why are you not happy, Vaibhav? You should be happy. Why are you not happy? Yes, good, very good. Yeah, Sumit, correct. Revolt could be for justice, equality. Yes, justice for Indian server. Indian server. What is this Indian server, Ray? Swarup? So revolt, this word revolt, mainly it means yes, we are fighting against something. But are we fighting against something specific? Are we fighting against a particular organization or a particular person? What are we fighting against? We are fighting for justice, yes, but who is going to give us that justice? We are fighting for equality, but who is going to give us that equality? Government, okay, yes, good, good, very good. We are fighting against the government for the government to give us something. So, a revolt, in the correct meaning of a revolt, is a fight against the government of that country. Means, I am living in a particular country and I am fighting against the government of the same country where I am living. That is called as a revolt. If one government is fighting against the another government, it is not called as a revolt. Okay, so you understand this meaning very clearly. The government where I am living, revolt is civil war, not exactly revolt could result in a civil war, yes. So the country where I am living, I am fighting against that government of that own country. It is called as a revolt. I am very unhappy with what the government is doing for me. I am not happy with the justice that the government gives me. I'm not happy. The equality I'm not getting. That is why I revolt and fight against the government. That is called as a revolt. And a person who revolts against his government, what is that person called as? No, no, no. No, 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 not revolter. Fighter. The person who takes part in that revolt and fights against his own government, what is that person called as? Sipahi is a soldier. Sipahi is a soldier. But if that soldier is going to fight against his own superior officer, see, many of your parents are in the military, right? Many of your parents are in the army and defense forces. So I'll ask one question. Your parent might be having one particular rank, correct? He could be a subedar, he could be a corporal, he could be lieutenant, something like that, correct? So now, if your parent or if that person who is in one particular rank fights against his superior officer, what is that person called as? Okay, now I will put one word over here. You tell me if you can understand this word. Rebel. There is no revenge or any fighting over here. Not revenue. Rebel. This person or group of people who take part in the revolt and who fight against the government or the authorities in the government, those people, they are rebelling against the government and they are called as rebels because they the opposition against government. Correct. Hey Parth, hold on here, I have not yet opened any page. Hey, what a big something you said, what? Yadnik. Ah, yeah, I know. Google meaning is there, Re Baba. Google, you can anytime you want, you can Google and you will get the meaning. Even I have seen Google meaning. I'm not asking for Google meaning. You need to scratch your brain a little bit. Yeah. You need to find the meaning inside your head. Explore new things. Google will give everything ready-made. Le lo bhai, pav bhaji chahiye, I'll give you pav bhaji. Take. But there is no fun in that. No. If you cook your own pav bhaji only, then there is fun. No, in that. So let us explore and let us try and understand the meaning for ourselves. So as I was saying, what happened to Vaibhav? Yes, Vaibhav. Correct, correct, something like that. But again, coming back to our rebellion and revolt. So the revolt, we all understood the meaning of a revolt is the person is fighting against the government of his own country. That is a revolt, and the person who is taking part in that revolt is called as a rebel. Or you will also know this word very famously. One of your favorite actors is there in this. Rebel in Hindi also is called as a Baghi. So the Hindi meaning of this word rebel is called as Baghi. So this Baghi or rebel is a person who is participating in the rebellion and he is fighting against the whole government. Now we have understood the meaning of all this Baghi, rebel, revolt, all that. Now the big question is why? Why should a person why should a person revolt? There is some kind of a dissatisfaction, there is some kind of injustice which is happening, there is some kind of unhappiness which is causing them to rebel, which is causing them to revolt, which is causing them to fight against the government. Yes, it could be to get freedom, it could be to fight against injustice, it could be to get equality, it could be for a number of various reasons. And the rebellion that we are going to learn about, that we are going to discuss about, happened back in the year 1857. This was this was one of the first biggest revolts which happened in the history of India. This was one of the strongest and most important rebellions which happened in the history of India, which made the British government wake up, which made the British government really worried, and which made the British government think about the way they were ruling India. That is why the rebellion of 1857, the revolt of 1857 is one of the biggest revolts in the history of India, one of the most important revolts in the history of India, which shook the British government. So that is why we will learn about this revolt. We will try and understand what happened during this revolt, what were the causes for this revolt, and what was the result of this revolt. This revolt was against the British government, which was well established in India. Okay, right. So those students who are asking me which page it is in, it is in page number. What is this page number? Page number 47. Yeah, page number 47 of your history books. Yeah. What happened? Chapter 4 I have not done. I have gone directly to chapter 5. Chapter 4 we will do later. Okay? Yeah. Chapter 4 about tribals we will do later. Now we will learn about chapter 5, revolt of 1857. Right. Okay. Okay, hold on. I am just presenting the screen to you. Yes. Yes, tell me. Half the lesson? Yeah. History is like story only, no? Everywhere there is story only. You need to understand the story, that's all. Okay. What was it? Okay, so everyone, you can just keep yourselves on mute when we start this lesson. Okay, yeah. So, East India Company had established its power in India and it affected the life of Indian kings, landlords, peasants, tribals, and soldiers in many ways. The East India Company had a very nice, strong establishment of its power in India by the year 1856. Very well established, almost the entire part of India it had covered and it had established its government in India. Many people were unhappy with this rule. It is obvious because they were not considered as citizens, but mainly they were considered as servants of the British. Many of them revolted against the policies enforced by the British. The Nawabs who ruled the land till then slowly lost all their power. Many Nawabs were there in power, the Rajas were there in power. Many of them had lost their power. And do you remember in the previous lesson we had learned about some three ways in which the British were taking up territory? What were those ways? Yes, correct. Absolutely right. Doctrine of lapse, the subsidiary alliance. Very good. Very good. Very good. With using all these unfair means, the Britishers were getting more and more territory, and with this, the Nawabs and the Rajas they were losing land, they were losing authority, and moreover, they were losing their honor. The British residents. They were accepting the policies because first those policies looked very comfortable for them, for the Rajas. They did not know how it is going to affect them in the future. So the British residents were stationed in all the courts to monitor the proceedings and thus undermining the authority of the Nawabs. In each and every court of each and every of each and every Indian Raja and Nawab, there was one person from the East India Company who would be stationed in that particular court. They would see what and all is happening in that king's court, and they would report that back to the Britishers, to the East India Company. So constantly they were being monitored, they were being watched by the British. The Nawab's armies were disbanded, and the freedom of the rulers was reduced. The revenue collected by the Nawabs was taken by the British, and their territories were also seized. So the year 1856 was such a year for the Indians where almost they had literally no control over anything that was happening. It was a very, very bad and sad situation for the Indians. Many ruling families tried to negotiate with the company in order to protect their interests. Many of the ruling families they thought, let us have discussions with the Britishers, let us try and find some way to protect ourselves in case something bad were to happen. One of these cases was Rani Lakshmi Bai. Now, Rani Lakshmi Bai, if you all remember, she never had a son of her own. Her husband, she had adopted one child after her husband had died. And as per the doctrine of lapse, this child would not be, the son would not be recognized as the king by the Britishers. So this was a problem for Rani Lakshmi Bai. Another very similar case was Nana Sahib. Nana Sahib was the adopted son of Peshwa Baji Rao II. And when the Peshwa Baji Rao died, Nana Sahib pleaded to the British that some money which was due to, which was supposed, his father was supposed to get, is that money should come to Peshwa, should come to Nana Sahib. The British refused this also. That was his father's pension. This the Britishers refused to do this also, and that is why he also wanted to join a revolt. And then in the year 1801, a subsidiary alliance was imposed on Awadh. This was a territory on which a subsidiary alliance was imposed by General Dalhousie, Governor General Dalhousie. He declared the state was being misgoverned by Nawab Wajid Ali Shah. He said that this Nawab who is there, he is not looking after the state properly. Lots of problems in the state. The revenue is not being collected properly. The management is very bad, not taking care properly. So in the year 1856, Awadh was taken over by the British, and it was the one of the last territories which was annexed by the British. At the same time, Bahadur Shah Zafar, he was the last Mughal emperor. You have learnt about the Mughal Empire last year in your 7th standard. And in that we have learned that Bahadur Shah Zafar II, he was the last Mughal empire. In the year 1849, Governor General Dalhousie announced that after the death of Bahadur Shah Zafar, the family of the king would be shifted out of the Red Fort and given another place to live. For the Britishers, after the death of Bahadur Shah Zafar, the Mughal Empire would no longer continue to exist, and nobody would rule in the Mughal Empire. This was the last emperor for them. They wanted his children also to move out of the Red Fort. They said that nobody will live in the Red Fort anymore. It will be property of the Britishers. In 1857, after the death of Bahadur Shah Zafar, Governor General Canning decided that his descendants would not be recognized as kings but would be called only as princes. So, the role of king would no longer be given to the Mughal Empire. So, slowly and decisively, the power of all the Nawabs and all the Mughals, all the Rajas, all this power was very slowly but surely taken away by the Britishers. So at this point in time, by the year 1856, the Britishers had almost full and total control over India. Is this clear? Anybody? Everybody? Anybody has any doubts till now? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, clear. Good. Okay, what about Sumit? Okay, good. Yeah, okay. Loss of the power for the Nawabs. Since the mid 18th century, the power of Nawabs and Rajas was slowly eroding, means slowly going away. The authority and the honor which they had earlier commanded was gradually vanning away. Hardly they had any kind of authority or any kind of power. The British had adopted residence in many courts. In many of the courts, the British people were there watching over the Nawabs. The freedom of the Indian rulers was reduced and their armed forces were disbanded. The soldiers which were earlier there with the Rajas and Nawabs, these soldiers also were taken over by the Britishers as per the subsidiary alliance. So the Rajas themselves did not have any soldiers of their own. The company also took away the revenue and territories slowly, one by one. All the money and the territory also was taken away by the Britishers. Many ruling families, they try to negotiate with the British. They try to, in some way or the other, they wanted to keep control of their territories, so they started a lot of negotiations with the Britishers. In what way did they negotiate? Many ruling families tried to negotiate with the company to protect their interests, but that also failed. For example, again, Rani Lakshmi Bai, since she had an adopted son, she wanted the empire to be named in the name of her adopted son, but the Britishers refused that also. Nana Sahib also said that at least my father's pension should come to me, the pension of Peshwa Bajirao. That also was refused by the Britishers. So, in many ways, all these requests, whatever were made by the rulers, were refused by the Britishers. Yes, correct. Correct. And in this time, Awadh also was one of the last provinces which was taken over by the annexed by the Britishers. That was the last, saying that this province is not ruled properly by Nawab Wajid Ali Shah. That is why the Britishers will take over this and Britishers will look after the Awadh province. That was the last annexation. And by removing Bahadur Shah Zafar from the throne, by removing him from the Red Fort, the Britishers' final idea was to end the Mughal dynasty. The company was also working on its plan to bring the Mughal dynasty to an end. It removed the name of the Mughal king from the coins. Whatever coins were being printed in the name of Bahadur Shah Zafar, it removed the names from those coins. In 1849, it was announced that Governor General Dalhousie, that after the death of Bahadur Shah Zafar, the family would no longer live in the Red Fort, and it was announced that they would be given another place to live in Delhi. In 1856, it was decided by Governor General Canning that Bahadur Shah Zafar would be the last Mughal king. After his death, none of his descendants would be recognized as kings. They would be called as princes. This was the plan in which way they wanted to end the Mughal dynasty altogether. So these were all the things that the Britishers were doing to see that there was no control by any king over his land and property. All the control would be completely in the hand of the Britishers. This was a stage, this was the place, this was the time when people were totally and fully angry with the British because they had lost full control. All control was lost by them and everything was in the hand of the Britishers. This was when a rebellion or when a revolt was going to start. So, till here, has everybody understood? Any kinds of doubts, please ask me now. What is pension? Okay, yeah, Sumit has a. What? No, sir, yes, sir. Hey, Baba. Huh? Okay, so Sumit has a doubt. What is pension? Pension is normally once a person retires, he gets one certain amount of money from the government as a monthly salary after retiring. That is called as a pension. Okay, okay. You want me to explain what do you want? Full entire thing or only pension? Not pension. Okay. So, yeah, okay, you want me to explain pension? Pension means an amount of salary which is given by the government to a person after he retires. Okay, okay. So, okay, I'll quickly again recapitulate what we did up till now. The year was 1856, and in this year 1856, the situation was such that most of the Rajas and many of the Nawabs they had lost their power, they had lost their rule to the Britishers. The Britishers had taken control of almost every territory of India. The Nawabs did not have any kind of army with themselves, nor were they in a position to earn any kind of revenue because all this was taken by the Britishers. Some few examples of this was Rani Lakshmi Bai, who did not have a son of her own and she had adopted a son, but the Britishers did not recognize him as the ruler of Jhansi. Another case was of Nana Sahib. Nana Sahib was the adopted son of Peshwa Bajirao II, but the Britishers did not recognize him also and did not give any pension which was to be collected by Peshwa Bajirao II. This amount also did not go to Nana Sahib. And then there was Awadh. Awadh was a province which was, or a state which was under the control of Nawab Wajid Ali Shah. They said that the Governor General Dalhousie said that Awadh is not being properly governed, and that is why they took control of Awadh in the year 1856. So, slowly in this way, they had taken control of the entire part of India.